Right on time, Chris. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always on time.
Every week.
Actually, I'm on time for everything except for the podcast. That's because shows how much I care about you and everybody else. I only care about myself. That's what everybody says behind my back. Anyway, we're here. It's Friday. Another week is rocket shipped by. Chris is panic muting. And I am now official. Give me my ASE certification. I just rifled through 2 sets of tires, fixed the major problem. You'll see a video coming up here where I worked with the Hunter guys, and so I've got all 4 of my my Vossens and new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, all forced or road force matched, all road force balanced, and force matched, and all of that stuff. So I did 1 Raptor wheel and 1 Vossen wheel. Watching. They did 1, I did 1. We left the other 2 of each for me to do. So I did the 2 Vossens here and did in like an hour. And I fixed the one that we couldn't figure out. So what I didn't understand about this, and many of you probably don't either, but a few of you do. So when you're talking about road force balancing, they talk about that you want to get your wheels and tires road force balanced. The problem is most of these places don't actually do any road force. They have a road force machine, but that doesn't mean they actually do the road force balance. So what you need to do, what road force means, is that it's putting pressure. So it's putting this roller on the tire to measure measure if there's going to be kind of a wobble or like a bump in your drive. So it's basically looking for the heavy spot of the tire. And then in order to road force, you have to force match. So you have to take the wheel and tire that you've just tried to balance before you put any weights on off the balancer. You go take it back over to the mounter and you spin the tire on the wheel. So it's going to give you a mark where the heavy spot of the wheel is and where the heavy spot of the tire is, and it's going to have you rotate the wheel and move the tire, move the heavy spot of the tire to a different position. And that's a pain in the butt. And you got to do the work. You got to do that. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 tries to get it. And so if anybody's ever charging you, $20 to mount your tires road force, they're not actually doing it. They might be doing it on a road force balancer, but they're just overriding the thing and just putting the weights on and calling it okay. I thought road force balancing meant that it applied pressure to the tire and then that told you more accurately where to put the weights. That's not the case. It's a combination, but it's more accurately telling you how to rotate the tire on the wheel. And you have to do that generally 2 or 3 times on every wheel. The last one I just did, I got lucky and put the tire on exactly in the right spot. And then the other thing is, the dots are a good guideline, but the dots didn't match up to what the digital, road force reading was on the Raptor. So forget the dots. And then the dots aren't necessarily consistent. There's red dots and yellow dots, and they're not consistent from manufacturer to manufacturer. So you'd have to know what your manufacturer suggests. So the dots are there if you didn't have a road force machine, but since I do, the dots don't really help. It could be a good start. Pick one, put that opposite the TPMS, see how that goes. But we found that the dots didn't tell a squat. So I'm going to be pretty good at this. I'm developing some procedures, figuring out some things I don't like. I'm going to be modifying, moving things around, and I think this could be good.
Gonna get your little patch ASE certified.
Yeah. You need to turn your little knob thinger and tighten
All right.
Tighten your mic up here.
Let's see. Luca from the chat wants to know, hey Matt, is there a big difference between the 1322 and the 1622?
Oh yeah. Anybody who buys the 1622, you should really only buy that if you're attempting to use it mobile or you have a 15 amp only capability. I think a lot of people, they don't realize how simple it is to call an electrician, pay him $80 and they swap your outlet, or swap your breaker and outlet, or maybe run a new line for you. Usually it's pretty simple. Some people just don't have, there's no way to get to where you want to mount your pressure washer, But the 1622 has a different wobble plate on it. It has a different winding, so there's a different electric motor. So the 1622 does 1.9-ish gallons per minute, and the 1322 does. The 1622 does 1.5 gallons per minute, 1.6 gallons per minute. So you're talking about a 25% difference in flow, roughly, which doesn't seem like much, but it's a pretty remarkable difference between the two. So you always want the 1322. The 1322 is actually a more expensive machine than the 1622. The reason why I think our 1322 is less expensive than the 1622 is because I buy so many of them. We have better pricing than anybody else has. So that's the one advantage I have. And plus, we're the only ones who have the 1322. The reason for that is I flew to New York and met with Ludwig Frenzle and begged them to make that machine. The only reason the 1622 TS is a TS because they saw so much success, and they'd given me exclusivity on the 1322, and so then they made the 1622 a total stop machine because it wasn't in the past. Otherwise, I probably would have never asked for it. I probably would have just stuck with the 1622 for shelf mounting. But the problem is the 1122 and the 1322 are essentially the same pump, slightly different. And they have more output, and so you want those machines. You want to just pony up, get it shoved 20 amp circuit. You could run a 1322 and a 1622 on a 15 amp. You just had to open it up a little bit and reduce the pressure a little bit, which would give you a little more flow. Like if you put a 4.5 nozzle on it and you did a 1.5 on your foam cannon, you'll be fine to run a 1322 on a 15 amp circuit. You just won't be getting maximum performance.
Let's see. Our friend Jeff C. here in the chat says, "Thanks, Matt, for the heads up on the Swiss Tracks price increase. I got my order in last Sunday. It's getting delivered tomorrow, just in time for the winter crud that'll be coming soon to Minnesota."
Yeah, so we're going to see a lot more of that, and I'm going to be talking about this a lot here, and it's going to get me in trouble with people who were never going to buy from me in the first place, but it's going to cause a lot of cranky people, not you guys that are buying, but those that aren't. We're going to be taking, I think we're going to have to, with the supply chain crunch, we're going to have to take a lot of, we're calling it reserve orders, or reserve your spot. And then I'm going to be sending an email once a week with an update on where everything is. I think a lot of things you're going to be reserving your spot for are going to take months, not days, not weeks, but months to get. But if you wait a couple of months for the supply to get back to normal, which I don't think it is. I hope it is, but it's probably not. You're going to wait a couple months, and then there still aren't going to be any. And the people that waited a couple of months are going to be getting theirs. And then you're going to say, well, shoot, I'm going to wait a couple more months, and then you're never going to get what you want. And so I just know the way I like to buy things. If just give me an option, keep me up to date with it, and let me buy it now and send it to me when you get it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be making, now anything we have, we're going to ship. And we're also going to be splitting up shipping, which we haven't done too much in the past. We're going to be split shipping things. I don't want to get into the Amazon, inefficiencies. You have to remember, when Amazon's splitting up your order into 57 packages, almost all of that stuff, they're passing that expense off to the vendors that are on Amazon. It's just eating away their profit. And a lot of companies don't really know how profitable they are until they go out of business. So, we have to be mindful of that, but we're going to be splitting up. So let's say you order your pressure washer and we don't have an inlet hose. We'll send you the pressure washer, the gun, the hose, everything we got except for the inlet hose, and then we'll keep you up to date when the inlet hose comes in and you got your spot locked in line. We're going to be very specific about who gets what and when, based on date when you ordered things. And we're going to ship things out as efficiently as possible as soon as it shows up. The other advantage that does for me is that I know how many I need, so we're going to order a lot more than we would have in the past. And so, some non-purchasers aren't going to like that, but I think the rest of us are going to like that. I cannot explain to you how complicated this is. It seems simple. You just accept the payment and you just wait for the product to come in. Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. We have to basically change how we do business completely, with inventory, with how the warehouse ships, how they pick and pack, with how we word things on the website. We now have about 2,000 different SKUs, and so it becomes really, really complicated to build something that keeps you up to date. as well as making sure you know what you're getting and what you're not. And so that's all the things we're only gonna screw up for a little while until we get it right.
That's good. It actually is a good segue to a question here in the chat from Joe Fro. Why are all the Crensley pressure washers out of stock online?
Yeah, because they can't. There's a part or piece of every single thing on the planet. Same reason why you drive by your Ford dealership. There are no Fords on the lot. Same reason why you can't get a Porsche. Same reason why you can't get a refrigerator or a couch or carpet or tile. We're in a worldwide supply chain disaster. And so it all trickles down all the way down to the most minute part. But there's problems in shipping, there's problems in containers, there's problems in manufacturing, there's problems in the individual parts and pieces, there's problems in chemicals, there's problems in everything. So we have a couple of hundred Crences coming. They're probably all sold. So I think they just showed up, didn't they?
Yes, this week. I was just about.
So the 1322s and 1122s, some of them are shipping. Probably not all of them, but some of them are shipping. So those who have had their order in for a month or 2 or 3, unfortunately they've been waiting that long, but now they're going to get it. And I think that we're all going to have to get used to this for a while.
Yeah, to address the question, Joe, a container came into our supplier this week, but every single Crensley on there was already sold.
Yeah.
And so like Matt said, if you're waiting for them to come back in stock, it's probably not going to happen because the next container is selling now.
Right.
People who are locking in their spot. So that's kind of how it goes.
I hate it. I just want to have it all here. I'm working on, and even if I place an order for 5,000, you just can't get it. They just can't make it. They're missing all the raw materials, all the parts and pieces. And then even once they get it done, then there's nowhere to get it here. So, yeah.
All right, let's see. We had a couple folks ask, including someone here in the chat, about the OG car show takeover last weekend. In your neighborhood, the HOA. Did they come after you? Did they deny you trophies?
Nah, they're freaking cowards. It wasn't a my neighborhood show. It was just at my country club at the neighborhood there. If you want to even call it a country club, it's some white trash, junkery. That pretend like it's like wannabe fancy. That's why we got two gates, double secure white trash gates. It was fine. It sterilized me for the next couple of years. I go to something like that. I'd realized I don't think I'd had a car in a car show since Hot Import Nights 1999. Or maybe it was 2000. No, it was probably 2001. Hot Import Nights 2001, Atlantic City, New Jersey.
What were you driving to that car show?
I had my Honda Civic in the show, my blue Honda Civic. The only photos that I have of that car to date are from that show, basically. And it was awesome.
Did you win a trophy?
I was hoping it would get me a girlfriend, but it didn't. I did not win a trophy.
Were there any girls at the car show?
Oh, at Hot Import Nights, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But they're all guys' girlfriends, so that doesn't really help you.
What about here? I don't imagine there were a lot of...
No. Yeah, it's not really one of my concerns anymore. But it was fine. I took all my German cars there, except for the E36, and we hung out and met some people. And the general consensus is always, of all the villagers, man, you need to tap into the villages. And how do you tell people that it's like the center of tackiness and the opposite of everything that I'm interested in is what they want. They want epoxied floors with a Corvette logo, embossed into it, neon signs. You remember I talked about the rug conversation the last couple of 2 podcasts ago? Those are the guys. I have nothing in common with any of them. They're like, oh, you don't understand. These people buy all kinds of stuff. Yeah, all kinds of Walmart stuff, all kinds of Home Depot stuff. No one's buying a Cox hose reel or in the villages, or very few of them are. And if they'd rather buy Race Deck instead of Swiss Tracks because it saves them a nickel. So I guess it's a backup plan, but it's just not going to happen. And so I try to explain it to a few of them, and then after the 4th or 5th person, I'm like, yeah, I can't. We didn't have a booth or anything. It's just because we brought 7 cars, so they were expecting us. So the people that were putting on the show kept introducing us, and they want to do clinics and all that. I'm like, sure, you just do it. The question is whether anybody will ever execute on it. They probably won't. So, but it was a sterilizing event of sweating. Do all that work to get my cars done. And I think they maybe treated me as a vendor because I would have won every trophy, but I didn't get a single trophy.
No
Can you believe
trophies.
that? I was so happy. Everybody was so
Where
excited.
would you have put them? Straight in the trash.
They were so excited. Michelle was, it was like the best Porsche, best BMW, best of show. So my cars were clear. I should have won every one of them, but I think they just treated me as a vendor. So.
I got a quick question for you from Marcine. Which Milwaukee impact wrench is best for swapping tires?
I like unless you're doing some really hefty stuff. If you're doing like normal tires, cars and trucks, you want the mid-torque. The Milwaukee mid-torque in the store. That's the newest one. It's perfect. For the longest time, I was using the extended anvil, which is a high torque, but you don't need that much. The old mid-torque didn't have enough juice to break the lugs, but the new one does.
Let's see. We have people checking in here. Hayden says, got up early, washed my GTI so I could tune into the podcast live. Thanks, Matt and Chris. You're the best part of my Friday.
Nice.
Midlands Car Care says, first time live for me, 7 p.m. here in the UK. So thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Greetings from rainy Seattle, my WRX channel. One Sticker X says, good afternoon. I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania. Does Uncle Matty miss anything about Pennsylvania?
Not 1 ounce. Now, I like Villanova. I like the main line, Philadelphia. I'd like to go to a Steelers game, but not Northeastern PA. No, nothing from there. Yeah, sorry for your plight. I feel bad for you. It's a terrible place to live.
Trap Cracker says, how are you planning on wall mounting your big Krenzla in your garage?
Probably just lags right into the backer. There's a sheet of plywood on the wall, and so we're just going to mount it with lags right into that. It has keyholes and then has two, just regular holes in the bottom. And so we'll mount the lags where the keyholes go, lift the Krenzl up, mount on the wall, and then drive the other 2 lags in. 4 lags should be sufficient.
Let's see. Micah Lemons in the chat says, any recommendations on a computer monitor besides the new Apple display? Still using my old Thunderbolt display, but looking to upgrade.
Yeah, I have the LG 5K. It's sitting in the attic. I should sell it to you. But the LG 5K I like a lot. That one works best with a Thunderbolt Mac laptop or Mac Mini. So that's the one to go with.
Matt Kirsch here in the chat says, hey, Matt and Chris, on the Facebook page, Matt has been critical of popular budget lighting options. As I start to pursue lighting, I'd love to hear why you'd avoid Barina or
freaking
similar
garbage.
Disposable fixtures.
Absolute complete garbage. There's nothing on Amazon unless it's like just so happens you'll find some like some major manufacturer that has it on there, like Lithonia, but I don't think anybody does. Lighting is really tricky. They've hoarded lighting, so lighting is like very close to home only, and so the lighting is still sold, and especially commercial and quality lighting is sold door to door, man to man, woman to woman kind of thing, and so it's done through electrical supply house distribution. And then it's also done through light design or like interior designers, that sort of thing. So I'm going to attempt to fix that. So why are you going to buy a $110 Barina, whatever that frickin' is, from Alibaba that's put on Amazon? It's just hunk of garbage. See, there's a remarkable difference between a quality LED and a junk one. Whereas incandescent bulbs have been out for over 100 years, so there's diminishing returns in a quality incandescent bulb versus a cheap one. But in LEDs, it's still very much the case that in order to get a decent light rendering, and remember, all these lights on Amazon, they're giving you some bullcrap spec that's just not real, and so you're getting crappy LEDs, which means you're gonna have crappy light, and maybe you don't care about that, but I do. And even the Obsessed Garage fixtures are like minimum standard. Like the prime lights that we sell, it's a Chinese tube. They're bare minimum standard of what would be even somewhat acceptable. With this Barina junk, you're gonna get lights like we have in here. This is from Home Depot Lithonia Special. half the LEDs have failed, and some of them are funky, and it's just junk light. So here's the thing: if and I understand, I'm asking everybody to be patient. Either buy the OG fixtures, which I'm telling you are decent, not great, but decent, or you order Cree, and we're going to wait months and months for them. But like a Cree LS, LS fixture is like $160. It's not like I'm asking you to buy $500 piece fixtures in comparison to, Barina junk on Amazon. It's just you're going to have crappy light, and you're going to pretend like it's good because you have to justify your purchase, and that's what everybody does, but they don't know any better. I'm telling you. I'm also telling you that New Age sucks donkey balls, and you should stop messing with this crap. Stop doing it. Buy something good. Wait, save, and buy something good. And if you don't know what that is, just listen to me. That's what I'm here for. I'm telling you. Well, man, you don't understand. New Age Pro is pretty decent. No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. I got to buy them. I'm going to get moving. So now that we're in there and my house is almost done, I'm going to get the flooring done. I'm going to work on these little projects. So I'll buy a Husky for you and buy a Gladiator and buy a New Age and show you. Here's why. Here's why you don't want this junk. So I hope that helps you understand. And so I get why you're stuck with buying light bulbs and fixtures on Amazon, because they've hoarded it. They've made it so it's unavailable to you. You could run down the street naked with 50 grand strapped to your chest and say, here's my money, take my money, I want good lights, and no one's going to see you. Unless you just so happen to have some sort of lighting designer drive by you at that moment. So you got about the same odds of getting struck by lightning. It's so stupid. But, there's clearly enough business where, they're lighting all these, major facilities. And they're, selling door to door. So you have a regional rep, and then that regional rep has a bunch of sales reps, and the sales reps know where the buildings are going, and they start to develop relationships with contractors. So it's just old school. And I'm attempting to bring a little bit of new school into the lighting world. It's really not that. It's very, very complicated with lots of choice, but once you figure it out, it's not that complicated.
All right, Micah, who asked the question about the monitor, said he'll take the LG 5K if you want to sell it to him. So,
yeah.
You really want to get rid of it? If so, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sitting up there in the attic.
All right, Micah, email me, Chris at Obsessed Garage. I'll see if I can figure something out with Matt there. Let's see. Rick Potter says, good afternoon, Matt and Chris. I pre-ordered the Ego Stubby when it became available. I know I want it, so took the advice and secured my spot. Keep up the great work. And then Epiphany Detailing followed up and said, curious to hear how well the pre-order is going on the Stubby. So I looked that up here. So 568 so far, or 567, I guess, are reserved. It's a pretty good chunk.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get 1,000 on the first shipment. That's the hope.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. We have a super chat from Adam C. $4.99 US. Do you think the VW Phaeton will become a future classic? It's ultra rare and so cool. A lot have been beat up already, further reducing the good ones.
Probably not. I mean, maybe in some cult circles, but probably not. Isn't that like the the W12 cylinder or something like that? I don't know much about it, but
yeah,
it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those little cult things, but it's not a very attractive car. So yeah, I mean, maybe it will climb back to original MSRP someday, but I doubt it.
How many wheels can a bottle of Deluxe and Gliss coat? Nate wants to know.
I'm working on that right now. Well, I'm doing 8, and it looks like I'm going to get through with 1 bottle. So that's 2 sets. I think you use a lot more Deluxe than you do Gliss. So I would guess you could probably, it depends on the wheels. These TE37s I'm doing are really porous, so they're sucking up much more coating. So I might need like a bottle and a half to do 8. But yeah, I mean, you can easily do a set, if not 2 sets of wheels, depending on the finish on them, and depending on how many coats you're going to do. So you're going to need 2 bottles of Deluxe per 1 bottle of Gliss. So, because you're only doing a single coat of Gliss, and Gliss goes on easier because it's just topping the Deluxe.
Frank L. has a super chat here, $10 US. I'm paying to give you 2 audio suggestions. Number 1, check out Pro Audio LA for custom audio cabling. OG spec.
That's where I bought this Pro Audio, I think. LA's. They had custom built, and they offered the Mikas with the mic or with the XLRs already pre-terminated. You could pay like an extra few bucks to have them do that, which was worth every penny. And they sold it with like the stand and all. That was a whole little kit. It was pretty sweet.
He said they use studio quality Mogami cable, Nutric connectors, whatever you want, no minimum.
Yeah, I've talked to, actually, the Mogami stuff is made by Geffen, Geffen guitars, Geffen, guitar amplifiers and stuff like that. So Mogami was a company that they started, to support their amps and whatever, what are those pedal things called and all that stuff. So I talked to them. The problem is they don't have any supply, and I really just wanted a couple of cables, and so they wanted me to carry the whole line. But I do have a conversation open with the manufacturer of them, with Geffen, about them, because they are great cables. They're really high quality. You don't really need anything crazy about for XLR. But because the grounding pin really does help with noise, and so having really expensive fancy ones isn't all that important. But yeah, Mogami is on the list, but Metra's kind of stepped up and provided me what I needed.
Scott Taylor wants to know. He says, I have an 1152. I'm currently using the OG spec Mosmatic sprayer solution with a 4.0 nozzle, but would I be better using a 4.5?
Yeah, I mean, the 1152 does quite a bit more output. You might even want a 5.0. I haven't really tried it. Because with a 4.0, he's probably getting somewhere around 1300 psi, something like that, I would guess. But he's restricting some of the flow, so if you dial that pressure back, you can increase a little flow. So I think you'd probably want a 5.0 on that. You'd probably get about 2.5 gallons a minute, 2.3 gallons a minute or so out of that machine. Because those 1152s are on 240 volt or whatever they have over there.
Let's see. Michelle M. is chiming in. She says she's listening. That was a while ago.
What's about when it said, was it donkey balls or something like that?
That or the, I don't know. I'm not going to guess. Super chat from Improved Garage, $10 US. Any plans for an obsessed lifestyle products, cleaning supplies for inside the house? A great example is the sneaker cleaning kit that Rag Company makes. It is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Maybe as attached to like Destination OG, if I find some cool stuff that I like getting Columbia. One of my fears is that they stop selling those Columbia pillows and I can't get them. And so I'll make a marker for them and keep them going. So I guess the answer to that is yes.
Let's see. We have some suggestions here for your friends in the villages. Chris Kim says, teach them to detail their golf carts. Neil White says, teach them to polish the hover rounds.
But see, they won't listen. They're old men. It's like, imagine me listening to some young guy. It's just not going to do that. They're set. They figured it out. They made it this far in life. What do they need me for? And the villages is middle America. It's not. These aren't like progressive, learned people. They are simple primarily, and a lot of them are simple Corvette guys. You just want a Corvette. They want to wash it and they want to take care of it. But when I start talking about you should probably set a pressure washer up on the wall, 98% of them are going to say no. Shoot, even Chris, who owns the building here, is a car guy. He doesn't, I'm here, and he's doing his own thing. He's got it figured out. He doesn't need me. He doesn't want to. I would have basically given him everything. He set up his garage with all the cool stuff, but he did epoxy and a couple neon signs and some barista lights or whatever they're called, and call it a day. Or they're probably commercial electric, from Home Depot, and that's what most of them are going to do.
All right, our friend, where did he go? There it is. Morgan Butler says, is there a particular recommended low-profile TV wall mount bracket or anyone on Amazon, etc.?
I usually use the Sanus mount, the Sanus Ultra Low, Ultra Slim. You gotta not get sucked in because most of them are making a tilt mount. You don't want to tilt because it sticks off the wall. You don't want a cantilever. You don't want any of these things. You want it to be flush as possible. As thin and low profile as you can. Just jam that sucker up against the wall and cut a hole if your HDMI cable sticks out too far. I want that sucker on the wall, not sticking out.
Let's see. From Costa Rica, Tomas Corella Detailing. I finally got my Cobra Jet delivered to Costa Rica. It has a swivel end and a fixed end. Which side do you connect to the gun and the machine? I use the swivel end for the machine as the gun has one.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the swivel is really more for hose reels, so yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I usually do that. Put it on the pressure washer end, and then put the gun has its own swivel, so you do it that way.
All right, let's see. W. Ryan wants to know, when are the OG hoodies coming out? It's about that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 hoodies, actually. They're all here. And when should we? What is that?
I don't know.
We could do it now, I guess, if we really want.
Yeah, it should be our next month's.
Yeah, instead of a T-shirt, we'll do the hoodies.
Yeah, we should get our hoodies rolling.
It's starting to get cool out there. It was like 60-something this morning in Florida.
So that means it's 20-something everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I want to get you a question here from Facebook. From Ethan. This is a good commercial for us. Ethan wants to know, is the affiliate program still a thing? I haven't heard you talk about it in a while.
Yes, and Jeff's in a couple of days is going to be transitioning to full-time, my social media presence, if you will, and documenting. And so he's going to be focused in on building out the affiliate program. My vision for it would be, let's say we have 3 tiers of affiliates, and let's say tier 1 is the most sophisticated. I would make a video for them about, let's say, some new product. Let's say I send them each set of PSB speakers and a Blue Sound power node or something like that. And so we work with the manufacturer to send them out, or I'd probably just end up buying them, and I have to do it myself for a long time until I convinced them that it was working. And so we'd send out the product, and I'd make a video showing, sharing with them all that I know about it, so that way they could have something to watch, and then help them make a video of it, or share on their platforms, and then they get to enjoy the product, and then post links, and then that's how they can make some money. So it's a way for me to entice people to talk about it, and then refer them back to my site because we're paying them. And so we're going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And then maybe tier 2, I'd send out a set of powered speakers, and tier 3, we just ask them to, here, won't send the product out to them, but we send them a special video. And so it's going to require, Jeff cultivating those relationships, chasing them down, figuring out who is actually generating and who values that. And I want to have, affiliates in all different industries as well, not just, detailers. And so, or we'll send up, send out all affiliates, get a thing of OG tire dressing. We attach, go watch this video. Here's what we request that you talk about, but you do whatever you want. And so I think you don't need to tell people how to talk to their own audience. If you did, they wouldn't need an audience. But it's helpful if you give them some talking points. I find that if I made a video and they watch the video, then you'll naturally just start regurgitating some of those facts and figures when you're making your own video. So yeah, affiliate is something that will, it is a very lucrative thing for both parties. It's just really, requires some dedication to make it happen, and I don't care enough about it to do that. So if we were to place somebody in that position to then create the value, because the other thing that it helps mostly for us is it's a way for us to purchase more unique visitors to our site, stuff like that.
This is a good question here that'll lead to another OG infomercial, we'll call it. Any specials, Kevin wants to know, for Black Friday? Yes, Kevin, that's the one time a year we do something, actually. So what is it?
Yeah, there's 10% off free shipping.
On 98% of the products.
Yeah, from what I understand, no Rupes polishers this year. The Nano kits will be on sale, so we can't have those on sale. Mm-hmm. All the other Rupes accessories, pads, and all that stuff is fine. What else is not?
Saber stuff that's freight shipped. You don't get free shipping on that.
Yeah, still 10% off, but not free freight.
Yeah, and I think Saber and Milwaukee were the 2 that we didn't do last time. Let's see. From Mark on Instagram, I don't have any questions, but I just want to give a huge shout out to Manny. Oh, he's helped me so much with all my idiot and stupid questions regarding pressure washers, accessories, and fittings. He's really down to earth and goes the extra mile to help and explain what I need to solve my problem. You guys have an asset in him. Thanks, Mark.
So I've continued to harp on this that, and I've been getting lots of phone calls lately, and they hear my message and then they go an email. That's been good. Less people have been leaving me messages. Normally they hear the message and I say, hey, look, this is my cell phone. We don't have a phone number because I don't have. There's just no way for me to staff a call center with the amount of calls that would come in that would have the information that you're looking for. It's just too complicated. Because if you have a question that I haven't already answered, like right in the product there, then it's going to be more complicated than something that, a call, someone picking up the phone could answer. And so what most call centers do, then they have tiers, right? So they have tiers of like people who answer the phone, know nothing. And then they have people above them who know something. And then they have the people above them that know, hopefully, most things. And then you have people above them that know everything. But then you're getting passed around. You're on the phone for 45 minutes. Think of like Comcast. It's a gosh darn nightmare. And you never even get to the person who knows everything, right? You're lucky if you even get to the person who knows something, which is, 3 steps above the call. And so it becomes a disaster. I just don't like that model. And so I'm going to keep it narrow and deep and then have a queue system like what we have where you send an email in, you create a ticket, go to the support page on obsessedgarage.com or just email support@obsessedgarage.com. You get in the queue and we work through it. The more specific you are, the quicker you'll get your answer. If you're just, hey, I need help, then you got to send an email back. What do you need help with? And then you go back in the queue, right? And so then you say, well, I'm thinking about getting a pressure washer. Okay, what are you going to use it for? You're going to have to you solve your own problem here by answering some of the questions up front. Give us more detail. And I was pretty adamant at the beginning, like, we're just not having a phone number. I don't want to talk to weird old dudes. Well, it's more than that. There's only a certain number of people that really know this information, and so. And everyone we train takes months and months and months to gather the information just through trial, just through testing, and through learning through all the problems that you throw at them. And so that's one of those things that you've really gotta help us here. You gotta understand how this game works.
We got a question from Chris in the chat. Hey guys, just got the Mosmatic promo, but wanted to know when the next batch of Cobra Jet hoses restock. It's a great question.
Never. Yeah, you're just gonna have to we'll open those up for reserve soon if we haven't already, and so you'll just buy it and reserve it, and they're going to be trickling in, and then we've got 20,000 feet. It won't be a Cobra Jet, but it'll be, I think, probably a little bit better. Cobra Jet is a Chinese, sourced blue smooth jacket. So we've got an American via Mexico, so it's American, technically American manufactured, but technically manufactured in Mexico, so it doesn't really count as American made. But we've sourced some hose. I got 20,000 feet of it, which is still not a lot of hoses. What is that? 200 100-foot hoses, not very many. And hopefully that keeps trickling in. We've got 150,000 feet on order. And so then hopefully we'll be able to supply these hoses really, really soon here. And they should be as good, if not better, than the Cobra Jet. They're going to be very similar.
One more quick stock question that we can address here from Kevin. When will the Press-All bottles be back? I just paid today for the 1,000 that we're going to get shipped via air freight. So we're going to have some transparent in stock briefly until those 1,000 are gone. Yeah. And then we have a whole container coming after that, but that's
with like 5,500 or so. And then I'm hoping to get it to where we can stock them, like have them here. And then from there, then open it up to wholesale for those who want to start purchasing them in large quantities and selling them online.
Yeah, so Kevin, that next one is probably a few weeks out. They're air freighting it, and it's leaving next week, hopefully. My WRX channel, $5 super chat. Do you have any general recommendations for a new construction home garage for the builder while it is being constructed? Lighting, plumbing, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you want to, especially if you don't have an attic above, you want to pick your lighting locations, and you want some symmetry there, and you want to err on the side of having more than less. So you want to do all those. Hopefully you're not dealing with some like goofy, cookie cutter thing where they're like, you can do one extra fixture. That hopefully you can just, within reason, just add whatever you need. You want to pick where all your stuff is going to go. Do you need 220 volt? Do you need a 20 amp? Do you need a 30 amp? Where do you need these things? And you got to tell them because they don't freaking know. So you got to sit down. You got to really think it through. You got to draw it out, and then you got to take it to them and say, "Here's where I want the locations to be," and you got to meet them out there, and you've got to do it. You're gonna have to do it with them because they don't know. These freaking people don't even take pictures of the garages when they, if they had a model home, they won't even set up the garage. Or if your realtors don't even take pictures of it. It's so stupid. There's one house that we were looking at as an 8-car garage. It's like 90% of the house, and they didn't even take a picture of the inside of the garage. Like, you morons. That's what you need to sell. So stupid. Like, why does everybody do what everybody else does? I would do the complete opposite if I was a realtor. I would take pictures of the garage and make those first. It's so freaking stupid. I'd be talking about, what are the pros and cons of this house? What do they do right? What do they do wrong? You would have a much better chance instead of just pretending like everything's perfect, everything's right. Hey, I want to let you know this is 5 amazing acres. Just know that, like, you got to be okay with this. It's in the middle of a trailer park, and the trailer park, is not so nice. But to date, we haven't had any incident or any issues, so I think you're gonna okay. Instead of pretending like it's not in the middle of a trailer park. We were looking at this house, like, and it's not. Trailer parks are fine, but this is like a meth trailer park. Like, I've never seen so many blue tarps in my life. There's blue tarps draped over everything, and everything is like weeds are growing like 9 feet high. There's pit bulls everywhere. It's I guarantee you, this guy. I'm like, why did this guy build this thing here? It's the one that somebody posted in the in the Inside the Hex group. And it had a 5-car garage attached, conditioned, and so I bet you the guy built it. It's on 5 acres. It's got a fence and all that, but I bet you he's been broken into a couple of times. And he's right when he moved in. I bet you he's saying, "I got to get out of here. So let me try to dupe somebody else into doing this." So if you're a realtor, you've got to why wouldn't you take the alternative route to what everybody else does and like. Sell the pros and cons and talk about the real.
One more follow-up question to Black Friday here from Rob H. Do the Hex members get anything extra? Hex Plus members for Black Friday.
Yeah, Hex Plus gets priority and 5% extra off. So 15% off free shipping.
Priority means when we print the orders out, all the Hex Plus goes straight to the front.
Yeah.
We print them out 100 or however many at a time. We look through, okay, all these are Hex Plus. They go first. That's what that means.
Yep.
Christopher wants to know. He says he has a 48 by 30 shop in the planning stages of finishing the inside. He lives in southern Wisconsin. He's going to be doing washing and detailing in the shop year-round. So he's not sure if he wants to use drywall. Would you suggest steel liner to help protect against moisture issues? I know there's a perforated steel to cut down on sound issues.
So say the beginning of that again. He's
48 by 30 shop.
Yep.
He's in the planning stages of finishing the inside.
Yep.
He's in southern Wisconsin, and he's going to be detailing and washing year-round.
Yeah, you want a dedicated washing area. If this is a detached structure, it's not a big deal. If it was attached, you would need a separate air conditioning system. Because one of the risks you run into is that if you have a system that's feeding your house as well, you get mold up there in the ducts and all that stuff can be really problematic. So you can't just put some drywall on there. You got to do either cement board and tile, or you've got to do some FRP, fiberglass reinforced plastic with T channels to seal up all the joints. You got to weatherproof it, or you have to do block that's sealed. Or you have to do something like hardy board or some sort of exterior, weatherproofed structure. just doing green board or doing something like that is not going to be good enough. You're going to have too much moisture, and you're going to end up with peeling and cracking and then mold and things like that. The nice thing about Wisconsin is it's not particularly humid, so in the winter, a lot of that humidity kind of gets sucked up into the air because the air is starving for water. But interior washing, you need to, in the best situation where you do cement board and you treat it like a shower. So anywhere that water is going to get, you're going to want to put tile. So put tile 10 feet up the wall, or build a block. Like when I do my interior wash bay at my house, it's going to have a separate door. It's going to have a separate air conditioning, separate dehumidification system, and all the walls are just going to be exterior walls. Block exterior walls.
Let's see here. Dune Wild wants to know, what's the best product to clean interior auto air vents, foam, spray, etc.?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really clean them. I just stick the vacuum in there, swish it around the vent, and call it, the little bristle brush thingy, and that's it.
Swisheroo.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that kind of stuff.
Our friend Chris Kim says, we're going back to the phone call, I was once on a call with Xfinity Comcast for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Got elevated 5 times. The last person was the same person from 3 levels ago. That's funny.
Yeah. So I don't want to create that, and people, they get angry about this. Well, you're charging me, you're taking my money. Well, I'm not taking enough of your money to do that. You wouldn't pay for it. I mean, maybe a few people would. So we need to charge, instead of $2,000 for a Krenz, we need to charge $2,500. And that way we can build concierge service. Everybody can make $85,000 a year that answers the phone. They all can be, we can create an advanced curriculum and all that stuff. But you don't get that for retail margins. The margins aren't big enough for that. And so in order to create that sort of boutique, that's why Comcast subs everything out to India. They just want to answer the phone and put you in an endless loop and hope you just go away. Because they know that there's nowhere for you to go. You're stuck with them anyway.
So does the SBA, I found out last week.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Let's see. From our friend Tyler Kuppelman. Hey, Matt, do you have any thoughts on the 2021 Porsche 911 Turbo S Stinger GTR? That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that thing. That seems like a lot of money with all those words.
Yeah, sounds fancy. Sorry, Tyler, we haven't seen them.
Yeah, I know lots of people love the turbos. I just don't like them. Adam's been yelling at me lately. He's like, you don't understand. I took the Turbo S to the mountains. It'll destroy the GT3. I said, yeah, but it doesn't matter about destroying it. It still sounds like a vacuum cleaner driving down the road. I think it looks cool. But I'll take a GT3 any day of the week. I don't really need to go that much faster. Like, I've never gotten in my GT3 and said, man, if it just had like 200 more horsepower, it'd be good. I just don't know.
That's a lot.
I like the whole experience, and it's enough. It's great.
Let's see. Our friend in the chat, Skate, SK8. Do you have any tips on maintaining ceramic coat on a Shelby GT 350? Just purchased the car used, never had ceramic coat before.
It's really no different than any wax or any other thing. You're going to have to remove it after a certain period of time. The dream, especially if you drive the car a lot, the dream of you getting 5 years out of is freaking nonsense. I don't care what anybody says. You're not gonna, if you care enough to have it dialed in, then you're not going to leave it like that. Leave it all crunchy and scratched up and all that. Because even if you take great care of it, you're gonna have tile marring, you're gonna have bug etching, you're gonna have contamination, and spritzing some iron remover on. Iron remover only takes care of iron, doesn't do anything else. And so this idea that, well, you can just do coating maintenance, you just have to make sure that you spray iron remover on it once a year. Well, what is that going to do? What happens if you don't live near a railroad? What happens if you don't live in a city? What happens if you live in somewhere rural? And that's not the issue. The issue is bugs and you're washing the thing too much. So you're going to have it redone. I think 18 months is the sweet spot. I don't care what your coating is, and you're ripping it off and starting over. So there's nothing really special other than you want to do you could use my process, but you want to get a pressure wash, you want to foam it, you want to wash it with some quality soap, and a quality pad like the Incredipad XL, and you just want to keep it out of sprinkler heads and hopefully get bugs off it in a reasonable time, and that's all you're in. And top it with something like I like the Suscross drying aid, but something like that, and that's all you really need to do. But give up on the dream of it. The coating will last 5 years, but it won't look very good and it won't feel very good. So I don't subscribe to that notion. Unless it's like a car that goes out once every 6 months, then sure, it'll last 5 years.
We've got some good feedback from Kevin Nickens in the chat. He said, over the past year, OG and a few other forces in my life have really influenced me, and next week I'm going to change my major to supply chain management and operations. Probably wise, Kevin.
Yeah. I think that's a career choice that will always have viability no matter what changes happen. You could probably end up traveling the world and learning a lot. You're always going to be living near the beach somewhere. You're always going to be on a coast. Yeah.
We have a $20 super chat from Sweet Jazz 2007. FYI, I picked up the Hi-Fi-Man Aria a couple of weeks ago. Much better than the LCD-X. So I looked that up. There's some fancy looking headphones.
Yeah, I was looking at those. I don't like any of them. I just bought some what are they called? AirPod Max, and I'm calling it a day. And I'm not doing it. I never freaking listen to them. Right now, my ears are sweating. I want speakers, and I don't care who hears it. It's my freaking garage anyway, so...
Yeah, it's been awfully loud over there the past couple of days.
Yeah, so... Yeah, those are good headphones. There's a lot of great headphones. There's a million great headphones out there. But yeah, the LCD-X was a bad move. They're a little too bright for me.
Then he wants to know, why don't you sell the CA Duster, which is the best tool for keeping dust off the car? I've been using it the past 25 years.
Yeah, well, you've been scratching your car the last 25 years. Actually, my friend Vince Stabile, he uses a California Duster. You can only use it in certain instances. It would be after a wash when your car's clean and it's sitting in a conditioned garage. But other than that, you don't want that thing touching your car. It attracts the dirt and dust and then it sits in the thing. Yes, you can sort of knock it out, but I don't think you can wash those things either. But that was great 25 years ago and not anymore. So, it can be used, but only in extreme care under very specific circumstances. It's no different than having a microfiber towel where you just drag it across the paint and you use the same towel without washing it over and over and over again. So you want to punt that sucker in the trash. And I don't usually touch my car unless I'm doing a full wash, or in certain instances doing a waterless type system where I'm using some sort of encapsulating formula like N914.
All right, Nino here in the chat. Look at this. Nino's being so nice to you today. He says, hey, Obsessed Garage, love your videos. Always bring me smile when I am down. You are the best. Thanks, Nino.
I don't know about the best, but something.
They're making a difference. Let's see
Thank
here.
you.
We have a super chat from Nitro Circus, $10 US. Hey, Matt, you interested in getting a GT4 RS at all? Big fan of everything you've accomplished. Been watching since you had the white Carrera.
Yeah, I called Tom at Tom Walsh. He's the guy to call at Wilmington Porsche Wilmington, North Carolina. Yeah, I doubt I'm going to be able to get one, but I want one.
Those are super allocated, I'm guessing. You gotta.
Who knows how many they're going to make, but I would love to have that car. It'd be fantastic.
The Mad Piranha says, hey, Matt, do you have any plans to bring one of your BMWs to BMW Invasion in Orlando next February?
Yeah, I think we're taking the E36 there. E3 Customs that's doing it really wants me to take that there. So my problem is I can't get there. So then I got to have somebody drive me there. And then they're driving my freaking car there, and it's great for them, but it sucks for me. I'd rather just stay home. So that's the problem. I would love to go to everywhere. And I would, if you pay any amount of money, I would give up a lot of things to have that back. But that's what I got. That's what I'm stuck with.
And then you have to like the person who's driving you. That's a very small group, too.
I don't want anybody driving me. I want to drive me. Freaking sucks.
All right, we have a suggestion here in Super Chat from Martin Alligator window tint. He says spray interior cleaner on the vent, then compressed air. The interior cleaner will take the dust with it, then wipe after. So there's a suggestion for cleaning those interior vents. All right, let's see here.
I say don't get them dirty.
All right.
Stop spitting down through your vent. Or keep the dust under control, and it shouldn't get in there.
Something squishy. Interesting name. I'm going from a Cube Ryobi for 2 years to a Krensla 1322 TS. How much am I going to love it? He wants to know. That's a big jump.
Yeah, it's going to change your life. It's so much better. Yeah, and just know, this is how it goes with everything, especially when you're going to make that big leap. I do this all the time. You got to have to, like when you get it and you open it, just do your best. Don't nitpick. Don't look for perfection. It'll probably be perfect, but just don't look for it because you're going to just get real angry, and then like 3 days later, you're going to realize that it's awesome and you just chill out. I do this all the time. Overreact. So just prepare yourself for that. Remember, it's an 80 or 70-pound machine that's getting shipped. So, just prepare yourself for that.
Rick Rojas gave us a super chat here, $5 US. Hey guys, any thoughts on enabling cookies in the website so we can auto log in? Also, setting the user homepage to where all the videos are instead of orders. That's a good suggestion, Bryce.
I have no idea how to do any of that, but I assume that was automatic.
To pay attention in the chat.
Yeah, let's steal some cookies. I like cookies. I like eating cookies.
Cookies are good.
Yeah.
Never had a bad cookie.
I have. Oatmeal raisin. Gross.
You don't like oatmeal raisin?
Oh, gross. Why would you do that?
Because it tastes good?
Why would you take oatmeal, which is like a semi-healthy thing, depending on who you talk to, and raisins, same story, and put them together and pretend that it's a dessert? It's not. You're trying to fake me out here. I want Crisco. I want
chips.
Refined, the most refined white sugar on the planet. I want lots of butter. And that's it.
Nothing else.
Yeah, I don't want any maybe some brown sugar, some flour, some of the most refined, most processed flour, and I don't want some freaking oatmeal in there. Why would you mess it up like that? That's dumb. Don't do that.
Cookie rant, yes. All right. Tim Johnson in Super Chat, $10. Speaking of doing things opposite, ordered pegged edges by accident. Is there any issue laying Swiss tracks from the back of the garage to the front so I can use pegged edges at the garage door? Need me to reread that for you?
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see. Tim Johnson, Super Chat, $10 US. Speaking of doing things opposite, ordered pegged edges by accident.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there any issue laying Swiss tracks from the back to the front so I can use pegged edges at the garage door?
No, you just... you could lay out the bulk of the floor and then kick it up to the edge. So, yeah, that's how you would do it. And then I just like to start at the door, but you would start at the back. Just know that the back, you're still going to have to push it up to the edge and make your cuts. But your cuts have to be at the edges, at the back of the garage, not at the door. You don't want to have to do the little patch kit on that. So that's, you can do it. It's not a big deal.
Brian McClintock is from the UK, and he says, hey, Matt, as a subscriber from the United Kingdom, does OG plan to ship products to the UK? Yes.
I mean, we ship them there all the time. It costs you a lot because you're paying the value-added tax. You're paying import duties. A lot of things come from Europe and then go back over there from us, and lots of people do it, but, I understand it's extremely expensive, especially if it's something you can get there. My long-term goal would be to go there. I'll take and I'll hire some. So we'll create I don't know what I need to do from a tax perspective to create a business in the UK. My goal is not to have Obsessed Garage UK. It's just to have Obsessed Garage. You go to obsessedgarage.com. It knows, via your cookies. I think it knows what your URL is, assuming you're not using a VPN of some sort. Or you can just tell it at the bottom, say, hey, I'm a UK resident. Or when you put your address in, it'll know. It converts to, the site already does, is converts to pound sterling, and then provides you a shipping quote as well as a duties quote. What I would prefer to do is to build a distribution center there, hire, not partner, but hire, UK citizens, UK residents, citizens that want to work for me, and they'll work for there. So I would hire a warehouse manager and a buyer, a purchaser, and I'd hire some pickers and packers and all the people needed to do the stuff, and probably a finance guy for there, and we would build a distribution center. In the beginning, we'd have 2 or 3 people doing all of those jobs, and eventually the jobs would narrow and it would spread out, and we would basically do everything from here, except that when you buy whatever you're buying, we'd ship it from there. So we'd set up a relationship with Krensa, and it would be very, very difficult to do this because then you have to negotiate and ask and beg and plead and tell them you're not stepping on anybody's toes and all that. And all the guys that are there copying me are going to complain that I'm stealing what is already mine. And so then that's going to make it more difficult to convince a lot of the vendors to allow me to sell there. But that's the plan. And then you don't have to pay any of that. So I would import, because to figure I'm importing things from all over the world here to the U.S., and then you have a net result, a net retail price. We'd have the same thing where you have a net retail price that's, I guess it would be a gross retail price that's gross of all of the costs, but then you just pay a normal, normal shipping cost. You don't have any value-added tax or anything. All that's been paid for up front. And then, stuff that's made in the UK stays in the UK. Stuff that's made in Germany doesn't have to go all the way across the US and come back. It just makes it either stuff from China doesn't come to the US and then go to the UK. It all goes direct. Same thing with Canada, same thing with the Philippines, same thing with Australia. And so I'm coming to those countries to claim what I've created instead of letting all these goofballs copy what I'm doing. It's just going to take me a while.
In the chat here, it looks like Gus Burkhoff, 17 years old, from the Netherlands. He's installing CSL and EXO on an Alfa Romeo this week. Greetings from the Netherlands. So thanks for tuning in. That's awesome.
Yeah, Scandinavia would be another probably great place. I don't know if, because of the Brexit and because of the change in currency, I don't know if there'll be significant disadvantages to ship. Like if I headquartered in the UK, would that be problematic for the rest of Europe? And I think that it would be. So then that would necessitate, well, maybe you make I think Norway would be kind of the epicenter of detailing. Norway has huge subscribership to detailing, and then maybe Norway could serve the Netherlands and Finland and and Denmark and serve the rest, Germany and the rest of Europe from there. Or maybe I'm headquartered in Germany, and so it's going to require me to hire some expertise in these individual countries, but I don't want partners. I want employees. I want people telling me what to do. I want to tell them what to do. And partners tend to secede and try to take it. And so I would want people to work for me. And again, it would be one website, and the website, our software would then divvy up where does it need to ship from as a distribution center. So that way you don't have to have all these different businesses. It's one business. Just different distribution hubs. It'd be no different than I had a distribution hub in Los Angeles or something like that.
There's lots of cookie talk in the chat here. You've riled some people up.
Oatmeal.
Jimmy John's oatmeal raisins cookie is good, says
Gross.
I'm Mustafa Tube.
Makes me gag just thinking about it.
Then he corrects us, saying it uses geolocation API, not cookies, when it recognizes where you're coming from.
Thank you.
I guess. Thank you. Let's see here. Where was it? Oh, yeah. Ben Finner chimes in. He says, if you don't like oatmeal raisin cookies, you're doing it wrong. The trick is you got to put a healthy portion of shredded lettuce on top.
Yeah. Why don't you put some ketchup on that, too, while you're at it? It's gross.
H. Christopher Hoots wants to know, hey, Matt and OG team, is there a way I can upgrade my Hex Lite membership to Hex Plus?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Email support Obsessed Garage. We'll work with you on that. Someone asked a question about the new Mac, so it reminded me, Kyle on Instagram wants to know, hey, Matt, how did you spec out your new MacBook Pro?
64 gigabytes, so I did a MacBook Pro M1 Max, 16-inch, and then I did space gray color, I did 64 gigabytes of unified memory, 4 terabyte hard drive, and that's really the only 2 options. So it was a lot of money, but I use this thing every day, all day. I use this thing too. So whenever the new M1 or M2 Mac, if they come out with a Mac Pro or something like that, or an iMac Pro, I should say, I'll transition to that as well. I mean, these 2 computers get used darn near 24/7.
Yeah, this one's over 3 years old now, and it's still.
Yeah, for what you're doing, you're not editing and stuff like that. I'm editing videos and photos, and then you're on it, 10 hours a day. I'm on mine more, and so. But the advantage of buying Mac Pros, like the razors and stuff that we're buying, we're gonna have to buy a new one every other year, because these are these will last a long time, especially for emailing and doing the stuff that everybody's doing here. Of course, the guys that are editing for us and creating the content will need new stupid PCs every year, it seems.
All right, let's see. We had a good question here. No, excuse me, from Rob H. While he's sitting there listening to the podcast, he says, 14 boxes of Swiss Treks just got delivered right now. Thanks for the quick shipping, OG.
He's going to go shut it off and start freaking out, start laying Swiss Treks down. I know it. I know the feeling.
Brian Shaper says, hey, Matt, what's your take on the best office chairs? Do you like those autonomous chairs that you got? Ever tried Herman Miller? Is this a rabbit hole you've been down?
A little bit. I have the human scale Freedom here. It's not a good chair. It's too clicky, clunky. I like sitting in it, and I like looking at it, but it's too noisy. Yes, I've had Herman Millers at Merrill Lynch. That's a Herman Miller here. Those, I guess they're okay, but I don't like how they look.
They're not pretty, but they're comfortable.
Yeah, so I'm not an expert. We just bought some steel case stuff for the other side. The autonomous chairs are a good value chair, I think. What are they, 300 and something bucks, $400,
$449, I think.
Yeah, so it's a good value chair, but certainly not what you would aspire to have. But we need 20 of them, so I don't want to buy 20 $1,500 chairs. At least not at this point where we are. So they are pretty good setup for us now.
Let's see here from Christopher Dede in the chat. What's the update on the new house design? Any progress there? What's the deal?
I think I'm about done with it. I need to do a couple more tweaks to the outside. It's 7,125 square feet. I wanted it to be less than 6,000, but that's not going to happen. I'd rather do the extra 1,000 square feet and get it exactly the way I want. It's a 4-bedroom, actually a 3-bedroom with like a detached, bunk room. It's an attached, but you walk outside to go to the bunk room. Michelle wants that separated from the house, but it's a bunk room where it's going to be way cool. So it'll have 4 queen beds in there. And so I don't want a freaking wasted guest room. And so we're building a basketball court on the back side of the garage. And, so Ryan and Kate, when they're teenagers, they're going to have buddies over, and that'll be kind of a setup. So there'll be an outdoor game room and an indoor game room. This is going to be the formidable years of our children, the teenage years. So I could envision us having this house built, by the time Ryan's 12, 13, and then we'll probably have this house for 10 years or so, something like that, and then I'll do something else. 10 years is probably an overestimate, but so we're building a very specific house that's very specific to me, and I don't give a crap what anybody else wants, because I know what I want. There are going to be lots of other people that will want it too in the future. Question is whether I'll be able to sell it for what I paid for it. That's the thing. So it's going to be freaking awesome. The garage is going to be 60 by 30, and then with an attached dedicated wash bay that's 26 by 31, I believe. And then we'll also have a porte-cochere attached 38 by 26 pull-through garage. It's the family garage. And so the garage is attached to the house, which is attached to my office. And my office theater is a hybrid where it's I'm going to share it today inside the Hex. So go become a member, and I'll show you what I've gotten thus far. But my office, the theater is on the back side of the office, and then my desk is in the front side of the office with a window looking into the garage. I think I really like how I've set it up, so you're going to want to check that out.
How about the Tesla solar panels? Are they up and running yet?
Now we just wait. You just wait for approval or wait for the switch over to. But all the permitting's done, and now we're just waiting on Seco Energy to approve it and allow it for sending energy back, and that sometimes can take a while. They say.
From Blake Smith on Instagram, which can light replacements are you looking to use from Cree? I'm designing a new house and would like to include those in the specs.
If you're doing a new house, you don't want Cree. You want a DMF. So you want DMF. So you'll buy all of the DMF one. What's it called? One something or other. It's the can, if you will, that the LED is in, and then you bolt in the LED. So it's go to products, and the problem is I'm going to try to become a dealer for these guys, but the problem is, again, they've hoarded this. All the idiot lighting people are the lighting purchasers are the ones that that require this. So you need that thing, the red thing. Go back to products. It tells us right there. Yeah, you're on DRD series. That's why. Scroll down. There it is. One frame, it's called. So you'll do, and I would probably do square frame is what I would probably do. And they also have one frame for concrete applications. But you want the one frame stuff all put throughout the house, and then you can choose. So if you go back up, and you can choose the lights. They have a regular recessed light is a DRD2. And then they have adjustable lights, down lights, DRD4, and then they have high output, like if you needed more lumen output, to DCD3. They also have the surface mount LEDs as well. They can go into that grid, into that frame. It's really, really cool, really, really slick. I have no idea what it costs, but that's what I'm intending to put in my house, inside the house. And then in the garage is where you do the commercial stuff. That's where we do all the Cree stuff in the garage. But that's way cool stuff. Check it out, dmflighting.com.
On the subject of lighting, Kevin on Facebook says he's talking about his home builder. The builder offers 28 pages of upgrades, yet misses some of the basics.
Of course.
They place T-Core 4-inch 5500 Kelvin LED lights in the house. I don't want to feel like I'm in a hospital.
Freaking idiots.
I prefer something around 3200.
Yep.
When they're done, I'll replace them all. What would Matt recommend? At this point, I like to control via my iPhone.
You don't want that, because all those lights are junk. You could control via your iPhone. You just need to get a hub, like a Lutron Caseta, a hub or something like that. But or you could even go Radio Raw or in the house, or you can do some other forget this Amazon bull crap. You can't do that. You need a real lighting solution. So look at Lutron solutions like Caseta for the house. So Caseta will only work with forward phase dimming, so regular lights, not commercial type lights with 0 to 10 volt dimming. So most light fixtures you're going to see. So, I mean, what you could do is you could have them just put in a regular can, and then you convert it. It seems like such a shame, though, to do that. I don't know about what T-Core is, but it sounds cheap. Again, you can have them put a regular incandescent with a Edison type, fixture. You just have to look at that company T-Core to see if they'll do it where. If it's the what's the other type of connection called? It's not an Edison, but it's it's like a Molex type plug, where you would you might be able to just swap the bulb. But see, a lot of these are going to be completed fixtures that you can't just swap out. Like the LED is built into the can, if you will. It looks terrible. Yeah, they have it at Lowe's, so you're off to a bad start.
So he doesn't want 5,500. He wants somewhere around 3,200. What is it?
Yeah.
You got 3,000.
Well, you're not going to have the choice to go 3,200. You're going to have to go 3,000 or 3,500. Because if you do, I just tried these. I'm telling you, like Cree Smart, the Cree, what are they called? The Smart Max or something like that. Connected Max. All the Philips Hue, they're terrible. This is terrible quality, terrible light. I just put them on the outside of my house. Cree sent them to me. I was kind of excited that, and then I got them all. They're just cheap Chinese junk. And same thing with Philips Hue. So you don't want those. The other problem is they disconnect from your phone off, and they disconnect from the Wi-Fi network. These are bulbs that have a chipset inside. They connect to Wi-Fi. I'm telling you, you don't want those. You want a more sophisticated system. You want Lutron Caseta, CASETA, as your control. So you'll use little Picos, which will be your little remote controls that'll control all of your lights. So that'll replace your light switch. And so all of your switches will be Caseta little Pico remotes. And you'll have a hub somewhere that'll connect to your Wi-Fi network. And that's how you'll manage it. But the light bulbs on Amazon Alexa, stop that nonsense. That's like junk. Just it gets me fired up. It's such junk. Can you tell the builder to just not put any lights in? So just run the wires and you do it yourself and do DMF.
All right, while we're on the subject of house here, got a question from Alan on Instagram. I just spent $3,000 on a hi-fi setup made up of a Denon AVR X3700H and Klipsch reference line bookshelf speakers, center channel, and 12-inch subwoofer.
Yep.
I'm not overly impressed with the quality of sound. I kind of wish I would have bought some of your Dyne Audio stuff, but you didn't carry it at the time. Is there anything I can do to improve this setup, or do I just punt it in the trash and start over?
No, I mean, Klipsch is a great thing. You know, it's a great speaker. They've gone massive. I mean, it's probably the biggest speaker manufacturer in the world, I would assume, by this point. It's so funny. Klipsch was a very niche, esoteric speaker back in the day when I was selling them. They've become really, really big and very mass-produced, and lots of people like them. You know, they're really bright, really efficient. You know, you can really have fun with them. But, you know, it's still a horn, and horns tend to be kind of bright, and a lot of guys like that bright sound. But what you're noticing is that it's probably a bit much. You know, it's very fatiguing, that type of system. You know, horns can do extremely well, but they're always going to have a tendency toward being brighter. One thing that could help a lot is if you swapped your receiver and you got one that had Dirac. So you could do a room calibration. So you would start with, you swap over to something like a I think the T758 NED has it. I know the 778 does have Dirac tuning, where you can go in and you can have it room correct. The other thing you could do, rather than messing with the speakers, is you could start to add some acoustic treatments. Check out GIK Acoustics. You can call them up, and you can have, sort of send them a drawing of your room, and they can kind of, because what you're hearing, what's bothering you is that brightness of Klipsch, as well as first, second, third reflection points. So you have all these standing waves that's causing distortion in your room. And so the speakers aren't probably as big of a problem as the room is. That's why I'm so adamant about, I really can't do much about my garage as a room, so I've got to get good speakers, and I've got to overpay for my speakers in order to get there. And I know most won't agree with that. Most hi-fi guys won't agree with that, but I'm telling you, that's the way it works in the garage. I still want good stuff in there. So you have to understand that the Klipsch is limited. I mean, Klipsch is sold at Best Buy. Best Buy's, I like going to Best Buy. I like Best Buy. Best Buy is the Home Depot of the audio world. Most of the stuff, their Denon's a great brand. Klipsch is a great brand, but Klipsch actually makes better stuff. Like the stuff you have is pretty far down the line in the Klipsch world. Even in the high-end, Klipsch is still not very high-end. And so if you're finding that brightness is bothersome, even in entry level, I like Dyne Audio so much, but there's 1,000 speaker manufacturers that are great. You have a good bet of liking the Dyne stuff because it's just so smooth and so flat and so neutral, so middle of the road, and so simple that most people will like it. And that's why I like it so much. But you're 3K into the system, you would have considerably more than that to start to upgrade. But what you could do is play with it. Your next step would be to replace your Denon, sell that, or use it somewhere else. Get a receiver that has some more tuning capabilities. Then add some acoustic treatments. Then you could slowly upgrade your speakers over time. Just depends on how into it you are. Or if you're willing to punt $3K, then maybe you got some jack, you got some money, you can scratch together, and we could do something great. You could use that system somewhere else. So I don't want to underestimate you here. We could certainly do something better. If you spend 5 to 6K, you can get a really awesome system.
Let's see. We have a couple quick questions about pressure washers from Armilan on Instagram. Hey Matt, I just received the Active Ultimate after a couple of years with my Sunjo.
Mm-hmm.
I was planning to use the Sunjo for home cleaning, driveway, siding, etc., but the Sunjo just died.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommended home pressure washers out there? I'd like to simplify things and match the Garden Hose QD with my Active Ultimate.
You should get a gas one for the house, man. Gas are pretty cheap. Even if you get an inexpensive one, you should try to get a gas machine for doing that stuff. You'll have such a better experience. Your house will look way better. You want something with some horsepower. And if you're working around the house, you're doing that a couple times, maybe 4 times a year or something like that, working on different projects, then you could do like your whole driveway. You could bolt the surface cleaner onto and take over that task. Spray some chlorine on the ground or inject some chlorine. Get a little bucket that where your gas is pulling from and mixing it in the line. I mean, I would get a gas pressure washer for sure for that.
Do you got any recommended brands or anything for that?
I don't know much about them, but you're just going to want to stay away from Home Depot. Start Google searching, find a pressure washing supply, or like in Maryland, it's Dirt Killer, and they're selling commercial grade pressure washers. And you want an entry level commercial grade pressure washer, a gas one's probably gonna cost you $500, but then you'll have a great experience and you'll save a lot of money by hiring somebody if you like to do that stuff yourself. Me personally, I hire a guy who has a 10 gallon per minute monster trailer driven, Karcher that he has on the back of his, or some Hottie or something, or Lambda or something he has on the back of his trailer that he comes out and chemically injects and cleans my whole place. So, and it cost me $200 or $300 to have him do that, twice a year.
Stephen Petuvis on Facebook says, "Hey Matt and Chris, I was wondering if GPM for a power washer really makes a difference in washing a vehicle. I have a Karcher K1700 with a GPM rating of around 1.2. Why would a unit with a higher GPM work better? Is it really necessary, or if you're just washing a car?"
Yeah, I mean, flow is important, pressure is not. And so the Karcher, if you tune it the way we tune it, so if you buy some more accessories, move up to a 3.0 nozzle, the nozzle on it is something like 1.5 or 2 or 2.0 or something like that. So it's a bigger nozzle. So the K1700 actually does a little over 1.4 gallons per minute at 1,000 psi. It doesn't do 1,700 psi. I forget what it did specifically, but it does less than that in the real world. And so you want more flow, less pressure. But there's a balance there. So you want, I think, the target pressure is 1,000 psi. That's right at the edge of where it doesn't hurt your hand when you hold your hand up next to it. So if it doesn't hurt your hand, it's not going to hurt the paint. Did it measure 1,700? Yeah, it did. Measured 1,700 at 1.15 gallons per minute. But then when we modified it, we got 1.45 gallons per minute at 1,000 psi. So that's a more useful way to clean your car. You want more water, less pressure. And so put a 3.0 nozzle on, that's what you'll get.
It's 20% more, which is a sizable
You're still getting technically the same amount of cleaning units, right? So 1,700 times 1.15 is very close to 1,000 times 1.45. Right? I mean, the theoretical thing should be if you reduced pressure, your flow would respond accordingly. It's not quite, real world and theoretical are different. So that's
2,040
cleaning units versus
1,450.
Yeah. So I guess technically speaking, you would do more cleaning with the pressure, but you don't want the pressure. You want the flow.
There you go, Stephen. Thank you. We have another. Manny's family must be all over the place here, because Tomer on Facebook says he's from Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to give a shout out to the OG support team, especially Manny, who helped me a ton with my first purchase of an MTM sprayer, the SGS-28. He made sure I got everything assembled and ready to use with the correct fittings, and it works flawlessly. Great service. This is exactly why I'd gladly pay a good amount of money for an international shipping from you guys, because it's absolutely trouble-free. Thanks again, all the way from Israel.
Yeah, so you just have to reserve. Same thing with reserving your product. Reserve your spot in line. Send an email in. It locks your spot in line. We have a queue that we work through. And I know we've been taught to have an expectation to get answered right now, but getting answered the wrong answer doesn't do you any good. And we don't want you paying a gazillion dollars over what it retails for. We want you paying retail, and then we can afford to swing 2, 3, 4, 5 people that have the answers, but not rather than having 20 people that don't have the answers.
Improved Garage, while he's been listening to the podcast, has been on hold with FedEx for an hour and 14 minutes. That's funny. Quick question here from Danny, on Instagram. Sorry if you're asked this question before, but do you have any idea when the next generation active pressure washer is coming out? Are you helping to design the next generation?
Yeah, we're working with the guys there in Canada, in Toronto. Early next year. I wouldn't wait, though.
Perfect Detail USA wants to know, is there any update on the Ford Transit Connect ETA? I recently picked up a new 2021, interested in creating mounting solutions for mobile units? ?
Yeah, I don't know. And no. No, we're going to be using ours for moving pallets around, bringing pressure washer hoses back and forth.
Yeah, he posted his in the Facebook group, actually. That got a lot of good feedback. We have a 16-year-old. No, excuse me, he's 22 now. Was 16 when he started watching you, however. Lee Martinez Jr. says, hey, Matt. I've been watching the channel since I was 16, thanks to Adam LZ's first video with you. I'd say it's pretty safe to say that's what started my obsession for GT3s and detailing. Since then, I've learned and picked up many life tips thanks to all your videos and podcasts. I'm now 22 with 5 years in a high-paying career, enjoying the process and pursuit. However, I've struggled looking for a car that fits my style and needs for many years. That was until I accidentally stumbled upon a clean Le Mans Blue E92 M3 with black interior, carbon roof, no EDC, and no nav. Even in stock form, it's an amazing driving experience. Can't wait to start modifying it. However,
I wonder if it was my old car.
It sounds a lot like it. It desperately needs an OG spec Dynon exhaust. However, they no longer make the resonated middle section.
Yeah.
Could I buy your old setup if you still have it? Not looking for some crazy deal, just want to experience what it's like. Thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, I sold it. I sold it for a premium over what it was originally sold for. I think I sold $3,000 or $3,500 or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore. They don't make it anymore. The alternative is, I think Borla has one, or maybe it's, what's the other one? Starts with an M. Magnaflow. I think Magnaflow makes a quad resonated. What you really need to do is you need to just save up, pony up, and get the full, American Racing header set up. It's by far the best, no question. It's just a pain to install, costs a lot of money, but that's what you want.
Let's see. This
it's
is a good,
way better than the Dynon, and I like the Dynon.
A good philosophical, existential question to close things out here. From RBP on Instagram. How do you deal respectfully with people in your life who don't understand your willingness to spend more for a higher quality product? i.e., why buy a Krensla when you could buy a Sunjo for a fraction of the cost? Parentheses, I'm thinking about my in-laws. Close parentheses.
Yeah, I don't give a crap what anybody thinks. So, on that subject anyway. So I think you just have to, recognize it's going to take some time. And then eventually, like for instance, me sharing dollar numbers and sharing, things that I have with the world has changed my life. And, many people, whether it's in-laws or it's friends or, just people in your life that don't get it, they don't really have to. And if you can spin it to have them kind of learn that your idiosyncrasies are, what's part of your charm. It's all of your charm, really. That eventually, if you just own it and you do you, eventually they just accept it. They don't have a choice. You're stuck with it anyway. So, and you just kind of, I think another thing to do is to kind of compliment them, which I don't do, but if you wanted to speed up the process on how they are, say, well, I wish I was more like you. I just have these, these materialistic ideas, but I do think that in the long run, I think it's going to pay off. How about we do this? Can we agree that let's do a case study here? We'll do a long-term study and see where I end up. I think I'm going to be okay, but worst case scenario, you get to tell me I told you so. So you just have to kind of do you. And if you do you, eventually people will just accept it. And if they don't, they don't. What are they going to do? It's one of those things that you just kind of have to just roll with life, and say screw everything.
2 quick questions here from the chat. Which Columbia pillow was it? Do you remember? Someone's asking. Shooter X. There, we've looked this up before.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? We found it on Amazon before. Oh, that's it.
Columbia Cooling. Yeah, that's it. Cooling gel memory foam pillow.
$100. $99.99.
Is that the queen size? You need the king size if you got a king. Yeah, that's the queen. So
queen.
the king's a little bit more. That's a little harder to find. Best pillow ever. Side sleeper, stomach sleeper. That's what you want. It's just the right amount of consistency. A lot of them they're too tall or they're too short. Too compressed or they're too tall, too big and heavy.
All right, there you go. And then our buddy James, Big Head James, wants to know, does Matt have a timeline to wrap up the home garage, the Krenzla air compressor, Swiss tracks, etc.?
I never have a timeline. My timeline is yesterday on everything, and I just do what I can. And I, in my head, freak out about not getting it all done. I got to get rid of the garage doors. I got to post it. They both were sold, and then they're now twice. Now they're not sold.
Well, there you go. I think Bryce or somebody just posted. Will we be adding the apple polishing cloth to the OG store? Look at that.
Yeah, we will not.
$19. Interesting. All right, now next week, what's the? Do you want to let everybody know what's the deal is for next week?
Shoot, I'm gonna take a nap.
Every week.
Next week is gonna be fun for the YouTube channel. So next week it's the we're gonna do a little double vlog in that we're double dipping here, in that we're gonna post the employee day in the lives that are for Inside the Hex. We're gonna post a free Inside the Hex week. I'm gonna be gone for probably 10 days. We've got some videos that we've sort of built up here that we'll have posted up here probably through like Monday or Tuesday. So sometime around Tuesday or so, we'll maybe not Monday or Tuesday, we'll start posting a day in the life of all the various employees that have volunteered to carry the camera around for the day. And then when I get back, you're going to have the most epic bonanza of garage transformation ever. So what we're doing is we're going up to shoot the construction. So me, Mike Waba, Bryce, Kyle, my dad, we're all going up there to stay in North Atlanta and build this. We're not building the structure. The structure's built, but we're going to install and fabricate and put all of the amazing stuff in this garage and shoot it, much like the VinWiki Garage series, much like the Emmanuel's garage transformation series. Only this is on a size and scale like you won't believe.
Bigger and better.
Incredible, yeah. So we're going to share the whole process. We'll come back and we'll have all kinds of amazing content on that. So that's what's coming.
Yeah, next week will look a little different. It's the Maddie's Away YouTube week.
Yep.
No podcast next Friday, but we'll see you back in 2 weeks. We might do something on Friday afternoon. We've been tossing around ideas. We'll see how that goes.
Chris was planning on doing a tour of some sort from his perspective.
My version 3.0 tour. It's been a while since the last tour video that we did, so it's time for a new one.
So it'll be and the asylum takes over next week while I'm out doing this thing.
Yes.
And I want to concentrate on the content there, and so I asked everybody to fill in. But the YouTube channel I want with constant videos going up every day.
Yep, we got it all laid out. It's going to be fun. So thank you all again for all the questions. We appreciate it. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
I'm thirsty. I need to start bringing water in here. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm going to just keep struggling. See you guys next week.